Korea has free Wi-Fi everywhere. The subway is world class. It's one of the safest countries on earth. So why? Why are thousands of foreigners still paying 2,500 to travel Korea in a group? Are they wasting their money? Or are they actually onto something? I'm a tour guide here in Korea. I guide foreign tourists around the country. I just got back from a week-long tour with a guest from the US, the UK, and Canada. We started in Seoul, headed down to Gyeongju, then Busan, and back to Seoul. Now today, I want to throw an interesting question at you. Korea has one of the best public transportation system in the world. It's very safe. You get free Wi-Fi literally everywhere. So why? Why do so many foreigners still choose to come here on a package tour? If you ever planned a trip to Korea and thought, should I go solo or book a package tour? Today, I'll give you the answer. But here is the thing. Traveling to Korea is not the same as, say, an American traveling to the UK. The UK is English speaking, the culture feels familiar, you can just show up and figure out how things work. Korea, totally different. Let me break it down for you. Number one, the language barrier. Now, a lot of Koreans, especially younger people, do speak English pretty well. But let's be honest, the people you actually run into on the street, the staff at restaurants, the bus drivers, communicating in English with them is not easy. And here's where it becomes a real problem. A lot of restaurants, especially once you step outside the main tourist areas in Seoul, don't have English menus. It's all in Korean mostly, Hangul only. But the bigger issue, vegetarian and special diet. Korea doesn't have a huge vegetarian culture, so most restaurants don't offer separate vegetarian options. Here's what happens all the time. You order something that seems vegetarian, and then you find out the broth was made with anchovy stock or beef stock. It happens a lot. Even some Koreans don't fully understand the concept of strict vegetarianism. And explaining it across a language barrier, really tough. Now, if a vegetarian accidentally eats something with a meat in it, it's not going to be life-threatening. But what if someone has a serious food allergy and eats the wrong thing without knowing? That could be a real emergency. When you're on a package tour, your guide can talk directly to the restaurant and sort all of that out for you. That alone is a huge relief. Number two, Korea has its own unique system that you won't find anywhere else. You guys use Google Maps everywhere you travel, right? Well, here's a fun surprise. Google Maps doesn't really work in Korea. You can see your general locations, but route planning was the fastest way to get from point A to point B. The feature just doesn't work here. Instead, you need to use local maps like Naver Maps or Kakao Maps. You can download them, of course, but there's a learning curve. Everything is a bit different from what you are used to. When you have a guide right next to you, they can walk you through how to use these apps or just navigate for you on the spot. And then there's a public transportation system. To ride a subway or bus in Korea, you need something called a T-money card. Where do you buy it? How do you load the money onto it? Sure, you can Google it. But Googling it is one thing, actually finding a convenience store and doing it yourself is another thing entirely. With a package tour, you're usually traveling by a private bus, so none of this is an issue. And even on tourists that use a public transit, guys like me often buy and preload T-money cards for everyone before the tour starts. And let me tell you a quick story about the subway gate. With a T-money card, you tap in when you enter and tap out when you exit. Sounds simple, right? But for the first timers, it's not always smooth. I've seen guests tap their card but walk too fast and the gate slams shut right in front of them. I've seen people tap in the wrong spot and the gate just won't open. All sort of things happen. Now, if that happens when you're alone, it can be pretty stressful. But when your guide is standing right there, I can talk to the station staff right away and get it sorted. That kind of peace of mind, you can put a price on it. Number three, Korea has its own unique cultural customs. At many restaurants, you don't wave down a waiter. You press a buzzer on your table. Side dishes, banchan are unlimited and free to refill. At some restaurants, you grab your own water and utensils from a self-service station. These little things can catch you off guard if it is your first time. That might seem small, but when you're in a foreign country, even something as basic as ordering a meal can become stressful. With a guide, you learn all of these things in real time, right as they happen. No studying beforehand, no awkward trial and error. You just dive straight into Korean life, zero learning curve, and that's a huge advantage. Number four, safety and emergency response. Let me be clear, Korea is a very safe country. You can walk to a convenience store alone at midnight and feel totally fine. People leave their laptops at cafe tables and go to the bathroom. That's just how safe it is here. But no matter how safe Korea is, accidents can still happen. I actually experienced this on one of my tours. One of the tourists twisted her ankle the moment she got off to the bus. Fortunately, we managed to help her to walk to the hotel and check in. Then I found a nearby hospital, took her there, and she was able to get treated. But imagine if she had been traveling alone, finding a Korean hospital by herself, trying to explain her symptoms when the staff might not speak English, trying to understand what doctor is telling her. That would have been really difficult. Being able to respond instantly when something unexpected happens, that's another huge advantage of a package tour. Number 5. Honestly, this is what I think is the greatest appeal of a package tour. Experiencing local culture on a deeper level with a local tour guide. Look, these days AI is incredibly advanced. You can go to the Gyeongbokgung Palace, point your phone camera at a building, and ChatGPT will give you a pretty solid explanation. So yeah, in terms of just explaining tourist site, the guide's role has gotten smaller compared to the past. I'll admit that. But the real value of a guide, it is somewhere else entirely. You're walking down the street and you notice, wait, I've been holding this empty cup trying to throw it away, but I can't find a trash can anywhere. Why? Sure, you can pull out your phone and ask ChatGPT, but that's kind of a hassle, right? When your guide is right next to you, you just ask and then you get an instant answer. Or you're walking and you see a nice looking apartment building. Hey, how much does it apartment in there cost? And your guide goes, oh, that one about 2 million. And you're like, what? And suddenly you are having this whole conversation about Korean real estate, cost of living, how Korean people think about housing, and you're learning about the country in a way no guidebook could ever teach you. That's the real magic of traveling with a guide. Your guide is a local, and when you travel with a local, you go beyond the tourist site explanations. You experience the culture, the history, the everyday life of Korea on a much deeper level. And honestly, the guide themselves is a part of the Korean experience. No matter how much time I've spent abroad or how many foreigners I've worked with, I am Korean to my core. The way I talk, the way I react, the food I eat, my mannerisms, Korean culture just naturally comes through in everything I do. And my guests experiencing that, I think that's really important part of their trip to Korea. The tourists experience Korea through me. When I think about it that way, I feel a bit more responsibility, you know. Number 6. Time efficiency. With the same 1 week, a package tour lets you see way more places than you're traveling on your own. Seoul is pretty easy for solo travel. You spend a couple of days doing a city tour, Gyeongbokgung Palace, Insadong, places like that, and it's very manageable. But the moment you want to go places like Gyeongju, an Asian capital of Korea, it's a different story. You can take the KTX high-speed train to get there, sure, but getting around within Gyeongju, the public transportation isn't as developed as Seoul, so you end up needing taxis, and most taxi drivers don't speak English. So even hailing a cab becomes a challenge. On a package tour, you finish up in Seoul, hop on the tour bus, and you are in Gyeongju. You tour around Gyeongju on the same bus. It saves a massive amount of time. You see more places more efficiently. That really comes down to your travel style. If you are thinking, I want to spend a whole week in Seoul, living like a local, taking it slow, soaking it all in, then solo travel is perfect for you. But if you're thinking, I don't know when I'll be back in Korea, I want to see as much of the country as possible in one go, then I strongly recommend a package tour. So let me give you a quick overview of how a typical Korea package tour is structured. For 1 week tour, most itineraries start in Seoul, head down to Gyeongju, then Busan, and back to Seoul for a day of free time before departure. Along the way, the tour may include a temple stay where you can immerse yourself in a Korean Buddhist culture for a night, or visit to the DMZ, a place that bears the pain and tragedy of the Korean War. If the tour is longer than a week, you might get some additional cities such as Jeonju, famous for its Hanok village and rich traditional culture, or Jeju Island, Korea's stunning volcanic island with incredible natural landscapes and beautiful coastlines. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, okay, sounds great, but how much does it actually cost? Let me give you a rough idea. There are basically 2 tiers. Standard tours and budget tours. Standard tours are what I call the classic experience. You stay in a tourist class hotels 2 to 3 stars, you get a local guide the whole time, and you travel by private bus or train for an 8 to 9 days tour covering Seoul, Gyeongju, and Busan with things like a temple stay and a DMZ visit. You're looking at roughly 2,500 to 3,400 per person. Small groups, usually around 12 to 16 people, and a pretty packed itinerary. Now, if you are in your 20s, maybe backpacking through Asia, there are budget-friendly options too. A lot of tour companies have what they call essentials or basic style tour aimed at younger travelers, usually 18 to 35. You stay in hostels or shared dorm rooms, you use more public transportation, and you get more free time to explore on your own. For a 9 to 10 day budget tour, you are looking at around $1,600 to $1,900 per person. And even at that price, you still get a lot. Things like a K-pop dance class, a taekwondo lesson, and DMZ visit, temple stays. It's surprisingly packed for the price. If you want the extended version that includes Jeju Island, the prices go up accordingly. A 13-day standard tour that adds Jeonju, Jeju, and other areas on top of the usual Seoul, Gyeongju, Busan route runs about $4,600 to $5,100 per person. On the budget side, a 13-day tour with Jeju, including the domestic flight, comes in at around $2,500. And if you just want a quick taste, there are also shorter 5 to 6 days tour focused mainly on Seoul and nearby areas for around $1,000. Of course, all these prices don't include your international flight to Korea. They're separate. And prices vary by season. Spring cherry blossom season and fall foliage seasons are peak times, so expect you pay more. If you book off-peak, like winter or midsummer, you can often snag discounts of 10 to 20%. But the point is, whether you got a bigger budget, whether you are traveling lean, there's a package tour out there for you. And honestly, even at the budget level around the $1,600 to $1,900, the value is incredible. You get a guide, transportation, accommodation, activities, and you don't have to stress about any logistics. That's pretty hard to beat. Now, these are the standard route for most tours, but the truth is, Korea has so many more amazing places. Take Suncheon for example. There's a Suncheonman Bay, the vast, endless wetland, and the National Garden bursting with the colorful flowers is absolutely gorgeous. It's not commonly included in the foreigners package tours yet, but I'm sure it will be soon. More and more foreigners are visiting Korea every year, and the tourism market is growing fast. That means package tour options are getting more and more diverse. Are you ready to travel Korea, but a little nervous about going alone? You might want to consider package tour. It's an easy, hassle-free way to explore Korea, and next time you come back, you'll feel confident enough to travel on your own. Alright, let me wrap up today's video. 6 reasons why foreigners choose package tours to Korea. Number 1, the language barrier. English alone won't get you far in Korea. Number 2, Korea's unique systems. Google Maps doesn't work here, and too many public transportation cards take some getting used to. Number 3, Korean cultural customs. Buzzer buttons to call your server, free banchan refills is all unfamiliar at first. Number 4, emergency response. When an accident happens, having a guide means instant help. Number 5, deeper cultural experiences. Traveling with a local guide lets you experience Korea on a whole different level. And number 6, time efficiency. You see more of the country in less time. So, what's your style? Are you the package tour type, or are you ready to take on Korea solo? Drop a comment and let me know. In the next videos, I'll take you through an actual week-long Korea package tour itinerary. Day by day, which cities you visit, what to eat, and what to do. If you're curious, hit the subscribe button and give this video a like. See you in the next video. Fighting!